T-minus 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Launch Sequence Podcast. It's going to be a good one. We got a monthly report this last week, and it shared news about Star Citizen going forward, and we're going to do a big old discussion here about it. I've actually got Grolo, the systems master, and one of my favorites to come on and talk about some of the more crunchy stuff that comes out of CIG. So thank you for joining me today, Grolo. How are you doing?
Absolutely. Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. I was going through the monthly report this morning and just getting more and more excited for this conversation. Everybody, if this is your first episode, this is the Launch Sequence. I host it every week. We bring on a new guest from somewhere around Star Citizen or other games. We sometimes dip into other space games and hopefully give you some new information, some context, some entertainment, and some, what's coming up in the future, what's going on now. If you are into it, check out other episodes. We have a new guest every week, and it's usually pretty fun. This week, though, quasi-dynamic server meshing, hacking, Starchitect, item recovery. Alpha 4.7 just came out. How about we start there? How's the game been treating you these days?
Pretty good. I skipped the first day or two. It was kind of a rough launch from what I heard, but I've been in since then on a pretty regular basis, and the system's been running pretty well. I'm still doing my 6-8 hour play sessions when I get in there. So how about you?
Jeez, nice. I've been enjoying it. I've actually had more fun playing the game now than I usually do. I really haven't played Star Citizen seriously ever. I kind of just would jump into the game to try out the new feature. Like I was like a lot of the other folks who would just jump in for the first couple weeks of a patch, try out the new stuff that was happening, and then, take a break and wait until the next one. The only thing is I wasn't taking breaks. I was still looking at it, talking about it with people, getting other people's opinions on it, kind of like trying to follow the development. But for a long time, there hasn't been very much that drew me into the game more than, say, once a week. And I feel like 4.7, it might be, the new game hype and or the new patch hype making you feel excited for new features. But with 4.7, I feel like I have reasons to jump in. I've been trading with other players. I've been setting up trades in other orgs. I've been collecting materials, looking for blueprints, and I can't complete any of those things in one session. So it ends up becoming a reason to return. And then when you return that time, you run into something else that you want to do. That's another reason to return. And I feel like that's the magic of something like Civilization, where you always want one more turn because there's always multiple things happening. Star Citizen's always just been such a one path kind of game for me. So I think I'm now starting to feel that that need to have a presence in the verse, kind of.
Feeling that connective tissue.
Yeah. And it's super basic now. I mean, there's plenty of problems with it, but it's a nice change to the game. How about you? Were you looking forward to anything particular in 4.7?
The crafting. I mean, that's crafting and base building has been top of my list for ever since I joined this project. I've been saying those are the things we need to make this a game, and maybe some territory related stuff. But it's like you said, it's giving purpose to all kinds of game loops now, like things that used to just be, well, I'll run this and I'll get some credits, and I'll run that and I'll get some credits, and then I'm going to do this over here and for credits. And now, and that's, I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but when the monthly report came out and they were talking about the econ team was talking about how they're trying to nudge the economy in a certain direction, that resonated with me, because that's exactly kind of what we're seeing, right?
Yeah. I mean, we can start out with that topic because it is a very good one. But when you say that you've always looked forward to crafting and base building, why is that? Is that because you played other games that had it and did really well with it, or is it just something you've always wanted to take part in?
No, it's because I knew that those things were going to give meaning to all the other things. So when I, prior to this, right, you go out mining. Why are you going out mining? Well, you're just going to sell the stuff to an NPC. There's really no other purpose. Same thing with looting and salvaging and all this stuff. It just kind of goes into the void once you collect it, right? You're only doing it for the experience of the game loop. That was really the only reason to go do it. And crafting and base building, looking ahead to those things coming out, it's okay, then I'm going to have a reason to go get titanium or try whatever the materials are called, and same with base buildings. So
yeah, the grind to make UEC, the grind to look at a mission and try to figure out, why am I doing this? Is it because I haven't done this mission before and it's brand new, so ooh, new shiny thing? Is it because I need money, or is it because there's like a piece of armor I'm trying to earn? And that kind of started to be the driving force last year, unlocking some kind of armor or getting something from the loot boxes. That was good, but you are right. It was still very much a UEC race, which doesn't matter because UEC is, I mean, it's useless when so many people have so many billions of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were trying to give us some sense of that too with Wikelo. Like,
Yeah.
hey, go do these things, and then you'll be able to trade them in and get this. I think, that's kind of like the earliest version of it that we had, but I wasn't exactly a fan of Wikelo. But
I actually think that's a really good place to start, because that leads us right into what they're focusing on now this year. And that is like the crafting, the focus. I mean, this is something they said on the economy changes. They want to focus on the game not being about earning UEC, but about earning materials, reputation, and other armor and guns and stuff. So from that standpoint, do you think Wikelo was an effective way of preparing for that, of testing that kind of thing from our perspective? Or do you think they probably could have done without it or done something different last year?
I think it was probably a good system for them to kind of start to get the pieces in place to support what we have now.
Mm-hmm.
And probably for the players too. I never really looked at it that way. I think a lot of people did call Wikelo crafting V0.
Yeah.
I saw that around, right? And
I think CIG
and
said
when
that.
did they?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
yeah,
so.
I didn't know that. It makes sense when you thought about it that way. I was like, yeah, okay. I just couldn't myself. I couldn't help but see it as a quest giver, and I'm like, I'm not here to do quests, but
Right.
yeah, I think yeah, I mean, if you think about the econ team trying to do like these little incremental nudges in the right direction, then obviously Wikelo seems like a really good first step.
Yeah, yeah. And then this report that they did in the monthly report on the economy, and they specifically used Rockcracker as an example of what they're calling now resource, kind of like resource caches, hotspots to get guaranteed resources for paying in UEC. There was a lot to unpack in that economy section. What did you think of the direction that they're trying to get this game going?
I think the goals are there. They're good. They're exciting. The way they described Rockcracker was interesting because they're describing basically what we have now is like a temporary manifestation of Rockcracker, and how they want the final form of it to be. They call it a resource hub.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting term. And then they said what it really wanted to be is a UEC, an AUEC sink, right? So like if you have enough AUC, you can basically convert that into materials, which is interesting. And it goes to some other discussions I've been having around like the whole exclusive mode and non-exclusive mode. It's all kind of this interesting web. I don't really know how it's all going to look in the end, but I think they're trying the right things. As long as their playbook remains open-ended, like
Mhm.
I'm there for the ride.
Hathor is kind of the same way, right? You go to Hathor because it's
Yeah.
a hub for those resources. Do you think they're going to keep these resources limited to specific places like that, or do you think they'll also be able to be found out in the sandbox at a much lower spawn rate?
I hope so. The latter is what I hope for. I hope that we're not forced into doing things like this in order to get the resources we need. I hope these are more. Again, it comes back to trying to give players whatever excites them, right? So some players are into like that choreographed gameplay that something like Rockcracker would provide, and another one's like, I want to go scout asteroid belts and try to find the stuff that I want, right?
Yeah,
So I'm hoping we get both.
So do I, man. I always try to say with a game like Star Citizen, you have to have gameplay that other people don't like, because it encourages a player network of working together. And clearly that's what they want to do. They want to make it so that certain people are going and doing all this stuff, getting the materials, crafting the stuff, and the people who don't like crafting or don't want to do that gameplay can just buy it and trade it from them. But there is some there's a point at which you're basically starting to limit these people from a lot more gameplay. And I mean, like you, I don't really see what the exact ratio is going to be for how much you might need to interact with the crafting system to get this stuff versus not. But it's definitely a tricky thing. Like I don't think they'll get it perfect. I mean, it's
I don't think there's such a thing as perfect.
Yeah.
I was watching an interesting talk from like an ex-Blizzard developer the other day, and they were talking about game development. They said inside of Blizzard they had this golden rule that, I forget how he worded it, but it was along the effect of like every change you make is going to upset everybody. So yeah, perfection is certainly elusive. And what you said about a few moments ago, I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day, and we were talking about like exclusive mode, non-exclusive mode, and you know how different players are going to be fond of each. And they said something I thought was interesting. They said, "I don't want," because we were talking about the opposing camps of like, you know, the two extremes of PvP raw and PvE, you know, and he was like, "I don't want either camp to be happy. Right? I want both to be upset because I want something in the middle."
Yeah, I think most people do. I think most people. I don't think using the labels of PvP and PvE are completely reliable for the gameplay that people want to see. I think a lot of people, when they say they don't want PvP, they just don't want danger. Because I'll tell you, go play Arc Raiders, and I'm sure you will reconsider saying everything should be PvE. It's sometimes the game can be kind of a dick. I do think, though, that they need to make sure we have like guaranteed places. And I think that's what they're doing, right? The hotspots, like Hathor, Jumptown, the contested zones, they're making places where you can get guaranteed PvP.
Yep.
But again, guaranteed PvE, I don't think we're going to get until we have instances.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're trying with the rock cracker and kind of like giving us out of the way zones, and they're not giving people coordinates. But we've seen people can route around that with relative ease.
Have you had any bad experiences doing rock cracker?
I haven't done it yet. Have you?
Okay. Yeah, I've been to like several of the facilities. I don't think of all the times I've been to them, it was like 3 times during the PTU. I found some people while I was there. Everybody was friendly. I did it once in live so far. I've gone to 2 locations live, but I've only ran through it once. Neither of those places I found someone, but those were exclusive locations. So I do want to try the non-exclusive ones soon and see how that goes. But you could tell it's just a holdover until they have instancing.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I read it.
Let's get back to...
I've been doing sorry.
No, go ahead.
I've been doing a lot of mining in 4.7, but I've just been doing it on the surface of planets and moons and stuff like that. I have not been the rock cracker yet.
How has it been?
Good. I mean, it's different.
There's people got complaints about the mining.
Yeah, it's you know, the quality stuff. I don't know how I feel about it yet. How about? I would love to know your thoughts.
I'm still figuring them out, to be honest. I'm not.
Yeah.
I won't say I should be considered a voice of mining or anything like that. I'm not like a big time miner. I would say go to Red Monster for that kind of thing, or Loud Guns. But I understand why 1,000 levels of quality can work, but I do think so. Right now, there is a quality combination stage that takes place in the crafting section of all the stuff you're doing. And I think that's the main part. Everybody's like, I want to average out the quality. You can, but you just have to do it when you're crafting. I think if they moved that segment earlier in the process, maybe to the refining process, I think even to the collection process, you could start to consider. I think a lot of folks' problems with the quality would be gone. It's not like 1,000 levels of quality is automatically a problem. They've already said they want to have the inventory use a kind of like a stack per quality level, so you can sort of expand your inventory to all the qualities. I think the inventory itself needs a lot of work to maintain that, but that is good. There was also something else that they had said, And I'm just going to look it up real quick because I actually forgot it, but it's on their Future of Crafting, the guide of how crafting is going to work later. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, I was just digging into that yesterday or the day before.
I want to say, no, I don't remember what specifically it was. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to remember what exactly it was, but I saw something on the Future of Crafting that made me think, okay, they're moving things around. I had gone over it on the stream earlier today, and I think it was about quality or about, here it is. The ability to split and merge resource containers within the inventory where the quality averages out. So they've already got that on the roadmap for what they want to do.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to combine the minerals you get in your inventory into an averaged out quality. And I think that'll do a good job of removing the sort of outcry against that, because 1,000 levels gives you a lot of variability, like a ton of possible variability when you're combining multiple materials into a crafted item. So that can lead to a lot of outcomes, which means there's a lot more ability for people to be more skilled at it and do better stuff. But I understand. I understand that if it looks like it's unnecessary, I don't think it's necessary. I think you could do 100 levels of quality, but I don't think 1,000 is automatically bad. The spread is terrible though right now.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean by the spread?
Like when you can, you can mine for hours exactly where the star map tells you there's good quality materials in Pyro, and you might not find anything. And then you can go and mine in Microtech for a couple minutes and find something higher quality. And I'm not saying that shouldn't be possible, but I think right now, from the feedback we're seeing, there's enough people who are like, hey, I can't really it's not like we're all supposed to find high quality materials all the time, but it still feels like there's not enough rhyme and reason. And I think they might be waiting for Planet Tech V5 for that.
That's the part I'm struggling with right now. Exactly what you just said. I've been doing all my mining in Pyro, thinking, well, they said that's where the distribution is going to be better at. I'm out there, but I'm finding mostly like 90% of what I find is 300 to 400 in that range, and I'm being told that 500 is baseline. Like that's what you get from a vendor. So I'm like, really? I'm out here in Pyro. I'm spending 90% of my time scanning and looking for something better than 400, something that I can at least get from a vendor. And it's taken me, like, if I want to go mine, it's kind of, I said this the other day, it reminds me of space trucking, right? You have all these people that want to do space trucking, but if you want a space truck, well, you got to spend a lot of your time doing box management. That's how mining feels right now. I want to go out, I want to crack rocks, I want to pull stuff out of the ground and do some really fancy, cool mining stuff, but I got to spend most of my time scanning. That just doesn't feel right to me.
So you remember when I said there has to be gameplay people don't like so other people do it?
Yep.
If there were explorers, and let's say CIG finally got their data situation figured out, so an explorer could go out, find a deposit, save the data point, bring it back, sell it to somebody else, would you only want to do the mining part? Like you don't want to do any searching? Or do you still want to have some of that scanning gameplay?
No, yeah, I think we still need to have it. I just think the ratio is a little too out of whack at the moment because of this distribution, right? Because there's so much unpredictability on where the good minerals are, and even when you do find a good one, it's like, well, 5% of the rock is the good stuff, and the other stuff's garbage. And I don't know. It's I would love to. I would love what you're talking about, though. I would love to pay explorers, hey, where can I find a good mining deposit, and they sell it to me. But right now, it's just so inverted, like top heavy on scanning, that I don't know that even the explorers out there would be able to keep up with the mining demand.
Dude, no. Honestly, like I said, I just don't think it makes enough sense.
Yeah.
It'll be nice, and with the Planet Tech V5, allegedly, you can look at a planet and be like, okay, there's going to be gold in that part of the planet. But, that also is going to depend on scanning, which they haven't really shown us at a medium distance what that's going to be like.
I'm excited about that. I think you're right. I think the place we're in is probably temporary, and Planet Tech V5 is going to make some improvements. And obviously, they even said in the econ report, they're trying to push people into Rockcracker to get feedback on that. Well, if you start everybody out on the surface of Pyro, that's a good way to get people to go try Rockcracker.
So this mining, this setup, this idea that you now have to mine or at least get high quality materials to have better equipment. As time goes on, right now, it's not a big deal. But I do think within weeks and months of persistence, if they're not wiping the quality, they did say like a crafted item will have base stats when the new update comes out. So maybe not 4.8, but let's say by the end of April, we're at this point where there are a lot more crafted items in the population. Guns, armor, people are starting to talk about it. The people who have the base level stuff are going to start to be like, nah, I want better stuff. This is supposed to invigorate player trading. But we don't have anything to to do player trading in the game. So
yeah.
How do you think, do you think players are going to be able to get into that? Is this going to start, or is this something that's still going to be held back by the lack of social tools and ownership and like a good system to get stuff to your friends?
I think it's definitely going to be held back from its maximum potential by the lack of social tools. But I think the people who are eager enough to do it, they're going to find a way to do it. They might even exist. I don't know. But you'll find like trading discords popping up and all kinds of stuff. I've seen it in other games, like Diablo, before they had a really good system for trading.
Okay.
Even now, like people have special discords out there to route around the systems that the companies have given them because of. So I would expect to see some of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think not everybody is that motivated to go find that thing, and so from that standpoint, I think it'll be held back from what it could be.
Yeah, and I wonder about the real average person. Like you said, plenty of people are going to be trying to do this already, but your player who maybe doesn't even know crafting has dropped into the game yet, right? They play maybe twice a month or every couple of weeks, and they hear about it and they think I want something good. Do you think there's going to be any way for them to easily, I mean, at that point, it's not even getting the materials. You just want to trade for the actual item, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like, because as we know, AUEC is massively inflated.
Yeah.
So what is the value of a 900 gun? Probably going to be pretty astronomical. Like that average player we're talking about is probably going to be like priced right out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting until things settle down.
It's tough. And I do appreciate in the economy section how they talk about what they're doing right now. And then as the economy starts to like settle down and average out and find its feet, they'll start moving on to other things. They do, obviously, they're doing it for a job. But I think a lot of people wonder if they recognize how the state of the economy and the people operating in it is. And I think they do. I think they specifically wanted to say that kind of thing to let us know that they're starting to try and get it in order. And it makes sense with crafting coming out to do that.
Yeah, I think so. I was very excited reading that econ section because they're saying the right things. And they seem to be doing the right things. It's going to be a slow road, though. I mean, we're not going to get a fully functional economy overnight. It's going to be a lot of incremental steps, but I don't know. I have yet to actually trade with anybody in the game. I heard you might be figuring it out. Have you been doing so?
Heck yeah, man. I am getting all in on the trading. Let me know if you want anything or if you need to find somewhere to sell stuff. My org is Tyrus has gotten our farmers market is what we're calling our the store.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's a tomato section.
Just get the best tomatoes out here. We've got what you want to buy, what you want to trade, if you want to auction or give away something. And anybody in the org can do it. You can hop on and put a request in. I've got a couple things in there that are just persistent. I'm just looking for high quality materials and I'll pay a certain amount for it. So I'm really enjoying it. It is something that I kind of realized maybe 2 months ago or so that I'm kind of into that in this game. I've never played an MMO, so I didn't know where exactly I was going to land, but I have been loving just like procuring items, asking other people where they procured them, meeting up to trade with them, hearing the story of how they got it. It's a really fun thing. And the fact that this
That's
is just
cool.
the beginning is crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. So we're doing a lot of that in the org because we could
Right.
just all go into somebody's hangar and
Yeah.
do that. But where are you guys setting up to do that with the people outside the org? Or are you just like inviting them to party or something?
We would generally you could also do it in the hangar, to be honest, but to have a little more fun, we're just picking places in deep space. So the
That's
last
cool.
trade we
Okay.
did, we traded, gosh, I want to say 23 Valakar fangs and 22 of the irradiated pearls for 50 grade A military components. And so we brought all our stuff in an Idris. They brought all their stuff in a Polaris. We both had escorts. Basically, I would invite one person from them into our party so that they could see our location, and then they would jump over there and then leave the party. That way you can always tell who's in what group. And having like some other form of communication is great because obviously in Star Citizen you can't talk to people for some reason. So you got to figure out communications, probably just text chat on Discord or something, or global chat if you want to have a little fun with it. But it's been a good time, and I'm looking forward to doing more. If anybody's listening to this podcast and you got an org that wants to trade, get in touch. Hop in our garden. Let us know. We'll set something up. You too.
Yeah.
I need to get you. You got to get your first trade in, man.
Yeah. We maybe we got a lot of Valakar stuff. So if we can trade that for high quality items, we might be down.
We will link up. But yeah, it's been good. I want to talk about item recovery though, because that's where we kind of go from here. Before we talk about that, I have one last question, crafting related. They have announced that pledge items, it's not just that they're going to have a warranty so that you can get them back. And I don't know if this applies to ships, but at least for the things we craft, the FPS items and stuff, pledge items will not be able to degrade to 0, which means if you buy something on the store, it is officially permanent. How do you feel about that?
I have mixed feelings on that, but I can't think of a better way to do it. It's gonna, yeah. I mean, my concern is it's just gonna put a lot of pressure on the economy because of that natural ebb and flow of things entering the economy and leaving the economy, and that's what keeps an economy like this going. And you're gonna have a subset of things that come in and never exit.
Yeah.
But like it's hard to predict how much of an impact it'll be because we don't know how big the game will be. Like what percentage of things floating around the economy are going to be pledged items? I don't know that anybody can answer that right now.
Well, a rule like this would dictate it will be more than it would have been, right? This will actively get people to spend more money.
It's good for CIG.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is it seemed like they had a solution where if you bought something on the store, it had a warranty, but that didn't necessarily mean that you couldn't like lose it and have to go and turn in either an AUEC payment or a certain amount of materials to get it back. So I'm wondering why they might have gotten away from that model.
I hadn't really even thought of that. So this is not limited to just LTI? I guess not.
Freaking hell if I know. I mean, this is all coming from a single post on the page. Yeah. The way it reads out here is any item obtained via pledge. So it doesn't matter if it's got LTI or not. Every item obtained with pledge will be tier 1 quality. Now that's good. That means that people will always be encouraged to upgrade it. So that kind of adds to the economy because you need the materials to upgrade it. And it also means that if you do lose it and you need to get it back, you'll probably get the tier 1 version. So there's still some risk to losing it. But then they also say that pledge items will never degrade to 0, which is like when they describe degradation, here's what they say. Degradation impacts the functionality of the item. Items can be repaired to restore some functionality. Every repair reduces maximum functionality of the item, and low functionality will mean more malfunctions. So your item can go through that. It can get damaged, it can function less. They've included all of that with pledge items, but they have said that items that are pledged will never degrade to 0. So it's still not, I mean, I think it seems like they've probably done a lot of thinking about this to figure what can still help the economy while making plenty of money off of it. But who knows?
It doesn't sound terrible because they say, I was reading that too, and at one point they say that it will never be permanently like pledged items will never be permanently disabled, but that doesn't mean they can't be temporarily disabled. So if like you said, if you lose your ship or it wears down, because it sounds to me like they can still suffer wear and tear, even a pledged item can, but there is a path to restoration. So that path to restoration, I'm assuming, is going to involve materials and funds and all this stuff. So there's still a sink there. It's just not as big as a non-pledged ship. So I'm sure that's the tightrope they're trying to watch. Like, how can we make this enough that it does not ruin the economy, but still preserve people's real life investment?
It's definitely nuanced.
Yeah,
like you can't just say it's right or wrong. I think with all the things they have in here, but that is important to note, the restoration, like you said. Either way, I think all of this has some really interesting ramifications, just because, unlike any game, really, this game has a lot of cash bot items in it that are like very crucial to the way the game works, like ships and guns and stuff. I guess that's not unlike any game, but it is heavily weighted on the pledge store items. So I'll be interested in seeing how that goes long term.
I'm very interested to know what post 1.0 looks like.
Yeah. And that
what does the pledge store look post 1.0? I don't know.
Oof. A lot of people have that question. Now, that brings us to item recovery tier 1, which is going to probably have a lot of anger, a lot of happiness, a lot of just in general opinions coming out about it. What do you understand it to be, and what do you think about it?
I understand item recovery tier 1 to be we start to have risk to death again. Because right now, if we die, we respawn with all of our gear, except for what was in our backpack. My understanding is that in tier 1, we lose everything. However, anything that we registered, I don't know what that means or looks like, but anything we registered, we can now pay a fee to get it back.
Right.
And when we do that, it bricks the original version. Actually, I don't know if that's in tier 1 or tier 2.
That's tier 1, yeah. It bricks the version. In tier 2, you will be able to undo the bricking.
Right, yes.
So in tier 1, when it gets bricked, you can't use it, but you can sell it. But they did not specify if you could dismantle it or not. I assume you can.
Interesting.
Because if you can dismantle it, that means you can still steal. You know, we're talking about like the average player who doesn't know how to get the stuff they want. You could just go and kill a high-level player, take their stuff and dismantle it for high-quality materials.
That would be great, actually. As long as the cost for replacing it. Like, I don't even know how that works. If you craft yourself a 900 rated weapon and then you go register it and then you lose it and you pay to get it back, do you get the 900 back or do you get the 500? I don't know.
Interesting.
Because if it's the 900 version, then I would assume that the replacement cost has to go up. The higher level the crafted item is, and that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah,
because you have to offset the other player you have to offset that duplication, right? Because anytime you lose your item, you're basically duplicating it whenever you reclaim it. So you have to offset that somehow. It can't just be like vendor price.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they give you an option to get the base item back, and then you can get your version back. I don't know. That's a really interesting point. And they didn't bring it up when they first introduced the idea of item recovery because it wasn't a thing then. Now we have crafting, so they got to give us some updated info on it.
Yeah. But overall, I'm a huge fan of item recovery tier 1. I have not liked the state that we've been in. But it's fine for the state of the game, but like for long-term health of the game, I haven't liked it because of the economy stuff.
Yeah.
I love that in the econ section of the monthly report where they said they said we must have wear and tear, we must have item loss because that's how we keep the economy going. Music to my ears.
It's kind of funny how many complaints there are about the game being a little bit too much, but there's going to be, we don't really lose stuff yet. We don't experience that much pain. I mean, we do because the game is freaking horribly unstable and it'll delete your progress after a couple hours. But if it deletes your progress, you respawn in a hospital bed, you have most of your stuff, you don't have to pay an insurance fee, you don't have to pay to get your ship back very much, you don't have to recover like materials and stuff. It's like not that bad to die in this game compared to what their plans are.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be a lot worse. Go back a year ago. True. You died. At least you had to go re-equip everything.
True.
Now you don't have to do that.
Even then, though, just nothing cost money. A lot of people probably don't know that you're going to have to pay for hangars if you don't own them. And we only own a hangar at our home location right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We'll see if it's still a thing. But it's definitely paying for, I mean, because it makes sense, right? If you have a hangar in a space station, that space station's got refinery bonuses, it's got proximity bonuses, it's in a specific space that's probably safer. You're gonna have to pay money to rent it out, and that's pain that we don't currently have.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, especially the state the economy's in with billions of credits floating around, there's no pain.
Yeah. How rich are you?
I mean, I'm rich only because of generosity of others, not because I've earned it. And I'm probably not anywhere near rich compared to a lot of people. I got 1 billion credits in my wallet.
There you go. Yeah, I've got too much money. Not, again, it's same as you, not because of my own doing. I've actually sent most of it over to my org bank because they're better off for it than I am.
Yeah, I log in and I'm like, where did this come from? And somebody will be like, oh, I had way too much. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Oh, you have way too much? Why is that? Because somebody else had way too much and gave it to me. Just pass it on.
Exactly.
All right. We're going to do a hard shift now from one big system that they're working on to another. The name Starchitect has been coming up quite a bit in, well, just this monthly report, honestly, but it's a big feature that they haven't talked in depth about for a little while. A lot of questions out there about how effective it'll actually be. Many of those questions coming from myself. But they're saying that it's going to start to get a lot more points of interest around planets. Do you feel like that's the most important thing for Star Citizen at the moment? Is that something that it really needs, or should they be focusing more on space locations?
No, I think planets are of paramount importance.
Are we Planet Citizen now, Grolo?
Well, I mean, it's Star Citizen, and what do stars do? They harbor planets.
Now, everything around a star could be the focus of this game.
Yes. No, I think planets are important because that's what people are going to call home. I hope once base building and all that stuff comes online, like I hope that planets become what people get attached to. Like, this planet is my planet. This is where I live. You know, it gives people that their space and their place that they kind of learn. And they're like, I know these backwoods. Like, I know this area of this planet. Like, I've got everything down. Like, it gives people that you're never going to get that in space. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe people could get really comfortable with a gas cloud or something.
Yeah, we go back, me and these heliums. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's I agree with you. I think from the beginning, it has always seemed like their goal was to create a really big game with large spaces between planets. So like the prospect of traveling that distance was daunting. But if you did travel that distance, a planet had enough missions, factions, caves, distribution centers, loot boxes to keep you in that planet for like a good play session, 2 play sessions, your whole freaking career. Because like you said, you know the harvestables there, you know what plants are growing there. I mean, the fact that they're going to give planets seasons, it's got to get detailed.
Yeah. I've said this before, but I hope that is a segment of the player population that can just play on a planet. Like they don't need a spaceship. Maybe someday they want to go somewhere else. They just have to ride with a friend. But like this is the planet I play on. I'm doing my FPS missions here, and I'm mining here. I got a little farm here. I go fishing over there.
Little farm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's dude, that would be awesome. I imagine if they sold game packages without ships. Just like a $20 access to the game and you got to figure it out.
That would be amazing. I would probably start another account just to do it.
Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, I think Starchitect is cool. You know, they talk about wanting to not have repetition and make all of the locations make sense. And actually, if you fly around in Pyro with the new outpost system, you can kind of see the way it's coming together. Like you'll find an outpost and then you'll find a bunch of caves around that outpost, which is sort of how they want to do the grouping. But they're talking about literally thousands of locations on a planet, which is crazy. I think 100 locations on a planet is a lot. So what, in your opinion, is the actual, let's say the over-under of actually getting thousands of locations on a planet, not experiencing rampant repetition, and actually getting some like differentiated gameplay at all these locations? Are they going to be worth it?
That's a good question. I think first of all, I think it's certainly possible to have thousands of locations on a planet. I guess maybe it depends on what you call a location. I don't think they're all going to be as rich as like an ASD facility or something like that, but little outpost with some tumbleweeds blowing by it. Yeah, if that's a location, then yeah, you can get a lot. And it's not all even outposts too, right? They've talked about
have a little porta potty out there. That's a location, right? Quantum beacon to it.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? The repetition's the hard part, man. I don't know how they're going to pull that off. I think that's just going to require a ton of design work. I think if you can get enough assets that you can plug together in a variety of ways, then maybe you can start to make it feel less repetitive. We've seen a little bit of that with the stations, right? Like all the stations are really built out of common assets and common modules. They have slightly different layouts. They kind of still feel repetitive, but a little different. I mean, at least I know like over here, well, you know, the noodle stands there, and over here the noodle stands over there. I hope Starchitect can make it more diverse than that. But again, I don't even think it's a technical engineering problem. I think it's a design problem.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The amount of assets that you have to have to like this kind of doorway, this kind of garage, this kind of vent, this kind of circuit board, it gets redundant over time. And obviously we're coming up with easier ways to make those assets. I don't even want to think about what generative AI is going to do for games trying to create assets like this, but it's not just the locations, but like the factions that need to be a little different, right? The specific things that the factions want you to do. It's going to get real annoying if every outpost you fly to, there's always some dude who his cart broke in the nearby cave and he needs you to go get his freaking Ranta dung out of there because it was high quality Ranta dung, and that is what that outpost is known for. I don't want to do that 50 different times in 50 different places, you know? So I feel like the missions also are going to be really key. Elliot.
Yeah. And, you know, and we've heard a lot coming from them about dynamic mission generation and being able to plug objectives together in different ways. And it's almost the same problem as the design and asset problem. It's, I mean, it's just content. Like, I don't know. That's certainly not an area of expertise of mine. I feel like the engineering part could be solved, and I feel like Starchitect is solving that. But the content, I don't envy all that work that needs done.
Hell yeah.
But and I think that's why the sandbox is so important. Hopefully, that breaks it up enough that we're coming up with enough of our own objectives and goals and things that we need to do that it breaks up the monotony of having to go get a quest. Because I just don't know how they're. I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I. Speaking of missions, though, some of the things they've been improving lately. October, they mentioned that they were figuring out a way for people to get missions from physical entities. So this, the first test of this was you go to Wikelo's Emporium, you click on a board, it gives you a mission. Pretty big move forward for them, not doing the mobiGlas. In this most recent monthly report, they mentioned now locations will be able to give you missions. When you show up to a place, you get it assigned to you. They've also said that Recco Pataglia, the first mission giver to make a comeback with the new system, is reaching a playable state. So they're definitely working towards getting missions into a better place. But do you think that people are actually going to enjoy flying all over the place to try and find these missions in different locations more than just being able to use your mobiGlas, since you kind of don't have to fly everywhere?
I hope they have a mix. I don't know that people would enjoy that if that was the only way of getting it done, but I think it goes hand in hand with what we were just talking about with Starchitect and the importance of planets and mission locality, right? The ability to go somewhere and maybe take up a mission and there's other nearby things. And I think it makes sense from an immersion standpoint that those are given to you by people. Like maybe I walk into this town and there's a barkeeper over here has something for me. And then, the little old lady across the street has something for me. But yeah, hopefully that's not the only way, because I think it would get annoying to have to fly from here to there. But like it comes back to the variety of types of players. If you have the certain type of player that enjoys that planetary gameplay in their own little hometown, mission givers makes a lot of sense. But if I'm somebody that's traveling the stars all the time, I hope I could still access one of the mobiGlas.
Dude. I love both of those. The idea of living out of your ship and maybe picking a different star system every week and trying different missions in that area. That sounds awesome. But also, obviously, raising your faction reputation and like being in a place that knows you, like the guy from the planet. He knows where to get the Rantadung. Yeah. It's his neck of the woods.
I think they even mentioned it. I don't know if it was CitizenCon or one of the talks. They mentioned like the hybrid approach too, like maybe the in between. Like maybe you don't always have to go to the mission giver. Maybe you can call them.
Yeah.
On your mobiGlas, right? And you see them. And so.
Like, we have texting in the 2900s, right? We can do that. Like, why are you always calling me, bro? I texted you.
You still need that rancid dung?
Dude, the Rantadungs. I hope CIG gives us like a really good reason to have, like, come on, they're working on chemical ammunition, right? There's got to be some way we can use that high quality Rantadung to synthesize like a really lethal round. Gross.
Well, they mentioned in that PU report, I think, that we were going to be able to take animal parts and convert them into new crafting components.
Yeah,
so,
buddy.
That's the obvious first step.
Yeah, of course. Let's make a shift, all right, into your neck of the woods. Server meshing was kind of the first reason we had a talk, and I know you've done... I think actually because you did a great talk on server meshing on your channel, and you've been doing regular coverage since then on different systems in the game, but this is always one that I come back to because I don't know what the hell's going on, man. So I wanted to talk to you about quasi-dynamic server meshing, because the thing that they said is like, this works kind of like dynamic server meshing, but not quite. It's load balancing, but not quite. So I want to have a little discussion about it. How about we start out by, like, can you describe what you see as quasi-dynamic server meshing and why it's actually different from dynamic or static meshing?
Sure. First of all, I want to know how many people are going to think it stands for quantum dynamic server meshing.
No, they're going to say quanta.
Quasi, yeah. I mean, for the longest time, we knew we were working towards static server meshing, and then we knew the next step was going to be dynamic. And I think it caught a lot of people off guard that we have this new one called quasi dynamic. But it makes sense. I mean, as Benoit pointed out a couple talks ago, the journey from static to dynamic was going to be iterative. It was not going to be a big bang release. Like, we're on static and now we're on dynamic. We're going to have all these little steps along the way. And I think quasi dynamic is just a descriptive term to describe one of those steps.
Yeah.
And the step that they are talking about that's currently going into internal testing, which is super exciting, is dynamically allocating servers to static regions. Right. So we still have the static territory map, which we got with static server meshing, which was the first time we had a territory map, because up until then there wasn't a territory map. It was all on one server.
Everything. Man, dude, even looking back at that right now, that feels like so long ago.
Right?
Dang.
But whenever they introduced static server meshing, and the first time we had multiple servers, that's the first time they needed a territory map so that they could say this region belongs to this server and this region belongs to this server. And so what Quasi Dynamic is we still have the static territory map, but now they're going to be able to dynamically shift those territories between servers based on server load.
So what does that mean for the player?
What that means for the player is you should get better consistency in server performance, because right now, if you go to an area that just happens to have a lot more players than the area you came from, you'll notice a sharp drop in your server performance, right? Like if you were in Stanton, well, say you were in Pyro, it tends to be less dense and things were running good, and you just warped into Stanton, and all of a sudden, oh man, my server FPS just went from 30 to 15. Like, why did that happen? That's the kind of thing this should help with, because if they detect that Stanton is, like, this area of Stanton is under more load, then they might just shift that territory to another server that is barely breaking a sweat because nobody's on it.
Okay. So what you're saying is, if they have 4 servers right now handling Stanton, let's say four zones handling Stanton, each with a server right now.
Mm-hmm.
After this is brought into the game, there will still be 4 zones, but they'll be able to go from 4 servers to 16 servers if they need to.
Well, the maximum number of servers they can go to is the number of zones they have defined. So if they have, so what I would expect is that the static territory map might also change. Like if they have 4 carved out territories in Stanton, maybe they make that 8. But those 8 are running on 4 servers by default. But when things shift around because of server load, they could expand to 8, but they can't go beyond 8 because that's the static part. Right? They have statically said we have 8 territories in Stanton, so that's your limit.
Okay, so then in that example, we would already have 8 territories right now, but it's running on 4 servers.
Correct.
And you're saying that after this version, that would still be the case, but if needed, those 8 territories could spin up more servers to help.
Eventually. From the way this announcement read, they're actually going to have a static fleet of servers.
Okay.
So maybe they say we have 16 servers and we have, let's say, 32 territories. So both of those things are still static. The thing that changes with Quasi Dynamic, based on what I'm reading, is that they can shift those things around, right? So now if maybe say 4 of your territories are hot, for some reason 4 territories out of the 32 have a lot of players in them. Now they have the ability to say, okay, those 4 are each getting a dedicated server of our fleet of 16, and then all the other 28 that hardly have anybody in them, we're going to spread those across the rest of the servers.
Okay. And is that the kind of thing that it sounds like will work in real time?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So
that sounds like that's what they're testing.
So overall, then, the effect of this would just, it wouldn't really be obvious. It would just be the game runs better, right?
Yeah, just more consistent server FPS is all you'll see. Like,
most players could just see this as a big optimization push.
But it could increase maximum player population. If anything, if we see anything concrete out of this, it would be that they bump up the max player count again.
Right. And didn't they say didn't Chris say he wants to hit 2,000 by end of year?
Yeah, I think that's what he said. This would be a major step towards that.
It would be interesting to see if that happens when this drops, or if it's another step after that. But it's cool. Somebody asked me, why do you care if there are 2,000 players in the game versus 700 players? I personally care because, well, I care when we get social tools, right? Right now, it's not super useful, but when there are 2,000 players in a game, suddenly you have a lot more options to trade with, party up with, to group with, to find, to all the things. Do you think it's worth it for them to increase the population right now, or is it better for them to just focus on making sure the game runs really, really well?
Oh, absolutely, it's worth it. I mean, this is an MMO. They need to be constantly pushing themselves to raise the player count to get us to that massive scale. Yeah, they're only gonna confidently get there if they have success under their belt, right? So
Yeah.
there might be a little bit of growing pains there, but yeah, I'm with you. Like the more, the better, because think about the number of random encounters with people you get right now. It's not a lot, but it happens. So if they raise it from 700 to 2,000, you're going to get 3 times that many, and that's exciting to me.
It also makes me realize we need actual security. Random encounters come random violence, and right now the game is not good at stopping that.
No, it's not. But yeah, I think the thing that we will see after quasi-dynamic, although we'll probably still be calling it quasi-dynamic, is what you just said, and I said not yet, is spinning servers up and down. It feels like right now the map and the number of servers is static, but how they distribute it is going to gain dynamics. And then I would imagine the next step, which I thought was going to be the first step, so I was wrong, is being able to spin additional servers up and spin servers down when they're not needed.
What do you think? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to your question of like that 2,000, when do we reach that? I would imagine we're going to get there in 2 steps. Again, I could be wrong on this. I think maybe we'll see a bump with this quasi-dynamic, and then another one when we get the spin up, spin down.
Okay. This is a crazy question. I mean, obviously nobody knows, but me and everybody who's watching this podcast is going to hold you completely to whatever you say, and we will be at your front door if you're wrong. What is the timeline, in your opinion, on the quasi-dynamic server meshing?
Yeah. It's internal testing now. I'm going to say summer, June, July.
Ooh. Wow.
We'll call it for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on to it, folks. I was going to say fall, like maybe October. I was trying to call it safe.
Well, I'm basing it off like if they really are pushing for 2,000 by the end of the year, they need.
That's true.
I don't think this alone is going to be enough to do it. So we're going to need this and something else, like the spin up, spin down, or something like that. That's where I'm basing that off of.
And that's why I asked you. See, you got that. And also, Benoit has been so confident about this. You know, he was saying when they were getting the static server meshing going, he was like, well, it's not that many steps to dynamic after that. We've done most of the work for static. Do you think he's still feeling that way? I mean, he's been on camera a couple times since then. He hasn't said that again, but he's still been pretty bullish on server meshing.
I think so, and I think the way they're approaching it is very sound from an engineering perspective. So again, think about like what changes from our client's perspective. You just said it yourself. Like, what change are you going to see? Well, really nothing. It's just going to run better, right? And the reason is because nothing changes from the Star Citizen client. We are connecting to the hybrid just the same as we always have, and we don't know what game servers are running or what's running where. It just doesn't matter to us. Like this is really just a scheduling tweak on their side. That's it. Doesn't really affect us.
Very interesting.
I'd be confident if I were them.
It's such an exciting time. There's so much freaking going on. Even just in this conversation, like we've touched on some really big topics that we've been waiting for a long time. And all of these topics have things branching off of them that I want to talk about. Like I want to talk about reputation, right? We don't know much about it, but that is a system that makes a difference to all the stuff we're talking about today.
It's the cadence of feature delivery is after a year of content and stability, the cadence that we have seen this year has been pretty impressive.
It's nice to get back to it.
It's like I totally missed in the monthly report hacking. Somebody just told me on Discord, they said hacking.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? Yeah. I totally missed it.
Hacking is back, huh? I'm sorry, but hacking is probably one of those things that's just going to have me bitter until we actually see it. Because it's always been talked about, at least since like 2019. But We have not seen a single picture of the new model of hacking.
True.
But yeah, you're right. The cadence that they're releasing stuff is good. Shout out to anybody who joined in 2025. This is what it used to be like. It actually used to be worse. It wouldn't. We would get features like this added in updates, but it wouldn't be every 2 months. It'd be every quarter, and the features wouldn't make a ton of sense either. They would just generally be the features that they worked on at that time. And then on top of all of that, the stability was way worse. So I think they're doing a lot better now than they were at any point, really.
I joined in 3.17, so I got to see a few big features land, and then nothing. I saw persistent entity stream, and then like 6 months of desolation after that, and then
Yeah.
and then static server meshing, and then it was content.
Everything really changed after 3.17.
Yeah.
3.17 landed, and we got, I think, what'd you say, 8 months, 9 months of no updates? Or well, okay, we got updates. We got 3.17 through 3.17.4.
3.18 is when we got persistent entity streaming, right? And that's what broke the world.
Yeah. So it was no updates for a while, no major updates, and then 3.18 landed, and that changed everything about the development of Star Citizen, because suddenly the focus wasn't getting to the tech. The focus wasn't put features in until the tech is ready. The focus suddenly turned to don't update until the tech is ready, which is how 3.0 got delayed super long. So that was pretty rough, and we're only just now returning to the pre 3.17 kind of model of development.
Yeah.
But it's better off. I think they're doing a better job at it. Now,
yeah, I think so too.
One of the big things that was planned for 4.0, there were a couple different reworks that needed to be done. Many glitches in the game had not been handled for years because CIG was like, well, server meshing is coming in. That's going to change everything. We have to plan for that. And we use that as an example of like a excuse to call server meshing Jesus tech. But really, server meshing just made everything else possible. So they were refactoring the mission system, the ATC system, and the transit system. But the transit system and also the mission system have still not happened until yesterday. They started a tech preview for the transport system to replace it. What do you, in your heart of hearts, is this going to fix people's elevator problems?
I sure hope so, because imagine the backlash if it doesn't.
That's what I want you to tell me. Yes. Make it right, because if this does not fix the elevator problems, I feel like we're in trouble. Is that too much? Because they've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, I know. The messaging was kind of humorous on the Spectrum page, where they were outlining what they wanted Evocati to be doing and how they wanted them to be testing, and they said, if you see an elevator open to a void, that is a sign of major problems.
Oh God.
So, I mean, the way they worded it sounded like they were pretty confident that's not going to happen. But you know, if you do, oh boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited to see and hear what Evocati's experiences are. I don't know how soon we'll be hearing. I mean, the testing's going on like right now, like this weekend, right? So, I don't know. It's hard for me to say with accuracy how successful this is going to be, but just based on their messaging, like it feels like there's some confidence there, and that we should be in good shape. And if it does solve those types of issues, like opening to the void, ejecting into the core of the planet,
oh my God,
they're talking about self-healing, you know, yeah.
There are like pillars of biggest problems for Star Citizen, and that's one of them. That's definitely one of them.
I feel like of the last several patches, like most of the things that really, even during the year of content when we weren't getting a lot of features and they were rolling out new missions and all that stuff, even then the transit system is what was just aggravating the hell out of people. Like,
Yeah.
like they came out with those new freight elevator missions, and the freight elevators were broken for like 3 or 4 months, or I don't know how long, right?
And they still have problems. I mean, people will still not want to go to them, and that's transport system. It's crazy actually how much it touches trains, it touches elevators, it touches anything in a ship that moves players. The tram in the Onyx facility uses it. It's a lot of things.
The thing that gets me all the time is just trying to bring my ship up in my hangar.
Oh God!
And it just eats my ship or something stupid, you know.
Your ship's just like sticking halfway through the floor, jittering. Like you told it to do a dance. Bro.
So, now they did say that elevator was not part of this test. So it sounds like they got some more work to get that one in. But yeah.
In chat here, a supporters chat, Maverick is saying that it's looking better, but not a full resolution. He said he spent 6 hours riding trams and elevators in Area 18. Sounds like a good, proper Star Citizen session, dude. Have also died multiple times to missing team floors, so it's nowhere near perfect. Oh boy. Yeah, I haven't gotten to get in. I have the tech preview, but it's been a busy few days. I don't know if I'll be able to even try this one, but I'm very hopeful. It's a scary prospect. This is a big deal one. It's not sexy in the slightest from the name, but it's probably one of the more important things that we've seen this first half of the year. So I hope it goes well. I certainly do.
Yeah, it is a big one because you're right. It touches almost everything. I would love for my elevator in my 400i to work reliably.
Props to you for flying around the 400i, man. You found a reason for it?
I just like it. You know, I feel classy in it.
That's how Origin gets you.
I know.
They're like, they don't need to do anything. Just make them feel good.
Yeah.
Just put a good trailer to it. Speaking of ships, why don't we talk a little bit about ships? Not only is this a big time for features, this is probably also going to be the biggest 2 months of ship releases we've ever seen. Potentially.
Yeah.
We've got the Ironclad, the Hull B, the UTV, the Gattac Raylan, and like 4 other unannounced ships all planned to come in the next 2 months. We just got the Aurora Mark II. Anything in particular you're very excited for?
Anything MISC. Everybody knows that's my favorite. So the Hull B, I'm excited about that, but I'm super excited about the Drake Ironclad. That's just such a neat looking ship, and both roles look interesting. And the that above thing that's going to slide open, it's just going to be a really neat ship. I'm excited to see it. Also, the command modules. I mean, that's something I've been waiting for on the Caterpillar for a while. I've been kind of dreaming like. We use the Caterpillar a lot on like salvage operations. We'll have like a bunch of vultures out there gathering stuff up and loading it into a Caterpillar. Every time I'm in there, I'm like, it would be so cool if I could just take that command module and fly around and help with the tractor beam, load stuff. That'd be neat. So I'm looking forward to that. Just to see how it works.
Oops. That would be cool. Do you think that because they're getting really in depth with the command module, it's kind of like the new Parasite craft testing, it seems, for them. Do you think they're going to have other ships that use that tech soon?
Well, it sounds like the Legionnaire for sure is going to use that tech latching onto enemy ships.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. The thing I'm curious about is it's starting to sound like the next patch is more and more about refueling.
Yeah.
We only have one fueling ship in the game, and most times they roll out features like this, they're trying to generate some hype and sales. I can't imagine they're going to try to sell more Starfares. So I'm thinking if one of those unannounced ships is something in that category.
Good call. They did show us an Argo refueling ship concept by Gavin not long ago.
Did it?
Yeah. Not to confirm that was like upcoming or anything. I think it was like a year and a half ago now. But it's I think that's not a bad possibility. The problem I see with refueling, now it's good that they're giving us missions because the NPCs make it easy to do, but we still have the same problem we had when they first launched refueling, which is like if you want to get fuel, you have to say something in global chat. This is a great change for orgs and people who are already in groups and can help each other take care of that stuff when they're out in Nix. Preem. That's going to be awesome. But for the average random player who's playing by themselves and want public fuel services, it still feels like something that's going to be hurt by the fact that we don't have social tools.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I'm just not sure. Like the missions, I'm with you. They're going to give this thing a little bit of meat if you're interested in that type of gameplay. But I don't know. Have you ever been in a situation where, like, man, I could really use a fuel delivery?
I have actually. Yeah.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah, I got stranded in Pyro a couple times.
I can't say I've never. I did get stranded in Pyro once.
Easy old backspace these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that's why all this is getting put into place, right? Because by the time we do realize we're going to need it and they give us consequences to not be able to get around it, it'll be nice it's actually working. Yeah. I hope.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the refueling stuff.
So do I.
Like you said, for the org reasons. What about you on the ships? Any ship you're looking forward to?
I'm really interested in whatever this new Origin ship they say is. I would love to see an Origin generalist ship.
Yeah.
Besides that, I think the Gatak Raylan is exciting because I don't think there's any other experience like it in gaming. You know, you can find other spaceships. You can go and play another game with Starship's creation, whether it's Starship Simulator or No Man's Sky, Starfield. But a really high quality, completely alien, quote unquote, design. The last time I think I really got to enjoy a high, like, y'all are going to hate it, but it's a podcast. I have to mention it. Halo. That's what kind of got me interested in Halo, was going on board the Truth and Reconciliation, which is the name of one of my accounts in this game, and seeing the Covenant designs, and like, it was so mysterious and kind of creepy. It was just a really, really good level. And I think those kinds of things really catch people's attention, like outside the game. Obviously, Star Citizen fans are going to be like, oh, this is cool. But in terms of what's in gaming in general, you can't really find super alien spaceships with floating bits and transforming elevators and all this stuff. And some cool content can come from that. Now, it depends if the gameplay can support it. But if it gets featured in cool videos, if nice pictures are taken of it and posted, if Bed Bananas does a video where he's riding in on it, that I think it would blow up outside of Star Citizen. So I'm interested in seeing how that's received.
Yeah, good point.
Besides that, the Ironclad, obviously, peak hype.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Peak.
Yeah. But that's it for me, man. And honestly, I think that's a good talk. Do you have any other things you wanted to touch on?
Nothing I can think of. Oh.
All right. Well, I would like to thank you for joining me for another conversation. These are some of my favorite talks, dude. We get through some good stuff. It's always a good time. And we appreciate the knowledge that you bring to these chats. Can you let folks who are listening know where they can find more of said knowledge?
Absolutely. And thanks. Always good to be on this show. Love coming on here. You can find me youtube.com/@Grolo-AF, just like in the box here below me. It's the same on Twitch, Grolo_AF. The only time I'm on Twitch is on Saturdays. So Saturdays is my stream day. I usually start around 4 p.m. Eastern and go as long as I can go. The rest of the time I'm just putting out straight to YouTube videos. So that's where you can get me.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you again for joining. Always appreciate you coming through. And folks, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, consider sharing it with your friends who follow Star Citizen. I think there's a lot of good info in here for the stuff that's coming up. Give it a review on Spotify if you can. If you enjoyed it, always helps us to find more people who like Star Citizen and Space Game Pods. And if you're on YouTube and you don't like ads, well, the audio platforms do not have ads. So I think might want to check that. But you can find us in all the kinds of places if you prefer a nice talk on your morning commute or something. Either way, I appreciate you listening to this all the way till the end if you did. Leave a comment down below if you're still here. Say hi, Grolo. And we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks again, folks.